Hey guys, welcome back to the show today. Today, I'm going to be talking about 5 reasons that your solo practice keeps you stuck and you can't grow as a solo practice owner if you're a PTA. And I want to focus this time today on discussing typical reasons PTA specific solo practitioners find themselves stuck after they start a side hustle, when they started that side hustle in hopes of it turning into a full-time gig. Now, the desire to go at it alone, guys, is very commendable. I know every one of you are seeing that our current PT professional healthcare model is not the way that we thought it was going to be when we went to school. And we want to create that change. We have that desire growing in us to create change and work with people that our system perhaps discharges or doesn't do well with. And it seems like that logical next step. Now, I found in speaking with many of you that have either already stepped away into a side hustle or is looking to step away into a side hustle and feeling kind of stuck and not growing. There are 5 typical reasons that keep a PTA from advancing from a side hustle to a full-time solo practitioner position. Now, you can take these and just kind of better understand where you are in your process of your side hustle and compare what I say here and see if it can help you take that next step so that you can start improving your processes and implement these changes so that you can have a successful business as a PTA. The biggest challenge, guys, here is the lack of solo business knowledge. Now, as a PTA, we're not taught business in school. Now, some of us have outside degrees in business. I did, or have rehab director experience. I had that. However, that does not replace the knowledge that you're going to need as a PTA in order to shift from side hustle business owner to becoming a solo practitioner with a solid model that will allow you to scale and grow your business. Now, the first, and I would think the biggest mistake, is that many of you don't have a defined service offering. Some of you are offering personal training because you have earned that certification, or maybe you have a massage license, or maybe you're a health coach, or maybe, you're just calling yourself something out there, but then you're sprinkling in your PTA knowledge base into those services, and under that certification or that title that you've given yourself. And guys, you need to understand that these things do not align with your higher license. So that is going to place your license at risk, as well as possibly your family and you. It's going to set you up for malpractice or legal claims. For those of you who are a member in my private Facebook group on Facebook, you can head over there. I did a 5-part series on liability and answered all the questions that most PTAs encounter that want to go into solo practice ownership. You can find that on my podcast, that 5-part series, or you can go on over to YouTube and find it on YouTube as well and get that information so that you know what you're getting into. But that you really, number one, need a service offering to be able to gain a customer long term. Now, the second biggest mistake that I see PTAs make is they use paperwork from PT clinics or maybe gyms and personal training certification programs that's been given to them for informed consent, and they don't have proper policies to avoid potential customer problems. Now, guys, as a PTA, you're held to a higher license and you're going to need a signed consent form. And on that consent form, you're going to have to list a service offering that says, "Hi, my name is Sarah, and I understand that I'm going to be receiving blah, 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 and that this is not physical therapy services." Okay, so you have to have signed consent stating that this is your service offering. And if that's personal training, then you put personal training there. And that Sarah understands that your personal training services are not to be confused with your PTA service offerings that you do in your full-time hustle. You're also going to need initial paperwork, and that paperwork needs to have, history, You need to get baseline measures from people, meaning you need to know what their problem is and what their expectation of care is. You're going to need demographics like name. You need to decide whether you're going to be taking a social security number, and you have to follow HIPAA standards too. So you need to understand all of that stuff and the paperwork and make sure that you have everything that you need. And if you don't, you need to seek counsel of an attorney as a PTA. That's the safest thing that I would recommend that you do. I went that route. It's very expensive. It's worth every penny because you know you're covered. The next type of paperwork you're going to need is terms and conditions. And the terms and conditions need to really draw out what you're going to be providing to a customer and how you're willing to work with that customer. And usually that's going to show your refund policy, your cancellation no-show policy. You need to make sure that you're not held liable, and you need to draft that out with a customer, all of that stuff needs to be drawn out in terms and conditions, and you need to be able to have the paperwork, all of that paperwork prior to a customer gaining care from you. Okay, a personal trainer, they can get consent for personal training, but those forms are not going to be sufficient enough for you, a PTA that's delivering a kind of different service offering. So don't make that mistake as a PTA. Now, the third biggest mistake is you don't have a unique skill set that's going to set you apart from the competition. And what that does for you guys is you don't have a unique selling proposition. And so you don't have a way without that unique selling proposition, your USP, to gain new clients consistently. They honestly don't know what you do. They don't know what you sell. They don't know what your service offering is. So it's hard to gain a consistent new client lead generation if you don't have a unique skill set and a unique selling point. Now, the fourth biggest mistake is you don't have systems, and these systems need to be proven, and they need to take a client through a successful program. And because you don't have a service offering and you don't have a program, you really don't know what a successful program looks like. So to be able to sell a program to a customer that you don't know what it looks like is going to be difficult for you. Most of you just get a client and you have no type of quantifying what their problems are. You're not documenting those problems. You don't have a proven method of treatment past your current clinical skill, and you don't know how to transition a client from one phase to another because you've not developed that system. Most of you don't define that clinical system, so your client ends up defining that system for you, which can be a big mistake. The fifth biggest mistake that PTAs typically make is that they don't understand the fundamentals of how to price their service offering. Most of you out there are choosing to replace your clinical salary. And what that means is maybe you think, okay, I make $25 an hour during the day, so I'm just going to charge $25 an hour in this new side hustle. And it seems like the logical next step for you just to get what you're getting paid in your daily job. However, guys, you are taking a risk out there, and there are cost associated with those risks. That's your certification cost, your business LLC cost, your liability insurance cost, the cost of your phone, the cost of running a business. You need to be able to go through a strategic plan to set and establish pricings for your services so that you cover the cost of business. And most PTAs don't understand how to do that. So that can be a big mistake that can leave you stuck at getting a low rate and not knowing how to increase that rate. Most of you don't have an official title and can't use your PTA title, so you choose to use maybe your certification title, and then you sprinkle in a few services that you utilize in your skill set. But guys, there are legal issues around this option, and you need to really, really understand your scope of practice and what you can and can't do as a PTA. Now, these 5 areas are crucial starting points for a PTA considering stepping out into their own business. And once you've established all of these basic needs, you need to have a title, a service offering, you need to be able to price your service based on what your service offering is and what your market allows, you need to be able to leverage a clinical skill that it is at least comparable to the competition. And you need to be able to have the right business policies and procedures, and you need to have and develop systems. Those things are the key components of a successful business. Now, guys, next week, I'm going to be talking about a training program that is just for PTAs that is going to give you the answers in how to be able to start a successful practice and earn $10,000. And that is going to be next week's show. So stay tuned for that show. And if you are a PTA and you're looking to start your own business and you want more information on becoming a stretch mobility coach, I can walk you through what a stretch mobility coach can and can't do and how that aligns with your PTA license. So if you have the need for information in that area, then I'll put a link here so that you can schedule a call with me and we can kind of go over what that looks like for you and if you are qualified for that program or not. Until next week, guys, hey, hang in there, keep pushing on and striving to be your best. I appreciate you for joining the show, and we will see you next week.